this is Kim with Mom's Creative Moments. Welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to take a look at the newest fall collection that just came out last month. It's called Autumn Harvest and it's beautiful, and I'm so excited to bring you the project recipe today for this collection and show you a few of the embellishments and papers so that you can be as excited about it as I am. Let's check out my workspace and get started. Alright, so this is my workspace for today, and I just wanted to share with you real quick the new designer paper pack for the fall of 2023. It is Autumn Harvest, and look at all these beautiful colors. Fall is one of my favorite seasons of the year, and I just love it when they incorporate some new shades of some of the old standbys, and then even add in some new things. Like, you wouldn't necessarily expect blue to be a typical autumn shade, but it is really gorgeous in this collection. You're really gonna like it. Coordinating cardstock is of course listed up here. They started doing that earlier this year, and I just love that we have these bubbles that tell us the exact names of the cardstock that will match the colors in this collection. So you're looking at cranberry, pumpkin, tangerine, canary, and hot fudge. So any of those will work with these papers and will just be stunning. Hopefully we'll create something really fun today with the project recipe that will help you enjoy this collection and get some ideas for what you can do with it. This collection also has a vellum paper pack. Not every collection comes with a vellum paper pack, but as you can see, these are really cool. We've got a wood grain one down here. This one has some leaf prints. This one up here has more leaf kind of shadows in it. We've got a plaid, and we've got these blue, variegated blue stripes, which are really neat and could lend itself to many things, including many of the water things that you might have done this summer. So a really fun pack. I'm just going to set those two aside. I've got several of the things that go along with this collection out here just to share with you very quickly before we get started. Of course, we've got the really wonderful mats, and some of them with some really neat sayings on them, and others journal cards. Some you could add photos to, and just really nice, beautiful artwork that you have come to expect from Creative Memories, and all of it blends with the theme and the coloring of this collection. So really nice. And then the matching larger mats for mounting your photographs super easily. I'm gonna set those over there. The embellishments actually come in a really interesting package this time around. We don't always get our embellishments in packaging quite like this, so I just wanted to show you. There is an outer package that you'll take off, and then inside there is a divided pack on top, a smaller pack in the middle, and this larger pack on the bottom. And I'm going to show you the breakdown of what those look like, just so you can get some ideas. Some of them are foiled, as you can see, that beautiful golden, actually it looks very bronzy, metallic has been added to many of these. They are perfect for layering on top of one another. They look really nice together, just like that. Or you could use this larger one and place the circle on top of it, which would really make a nice journal box area or title. You've got this cute log, which you could journal on or make a title. You could use this along with the wood to make a title. Just lots of different options. Always love the thankful, grateful, and blessed. And then this beautiful tree, which has the leaves of fall and the metallic accents. Super cute, and I really am loving all of these. You've got some smaller accents you can use, some pine cone things. We've got a few saying boxes. You've got beautiful leaves with metallic accents, some with, some without. So depending on how you want to put those into clusters, those could be really cute. You've got pumpkins and more leaves and a hot chocolate or cocoa or coffee or tea, whatever it is your preference for a warm drink to warm you up on a cold winter day or fall day. You've got that too. So anyway, those are just really cute. And then we've got stickers, of course, and some really cute little sayings. Fall is proof that change is beautiful. Love that. And the scarecrow and the wheelbarrow of leaves, just lots of fun. And as you can tell, I have Finn here with me today. he's being our guard dog. He hears noises upstairs. He's getting excited. All right, so I'm just going to go ahead and clear these off. We'll get back to some of these embellishments a little later when we get that far in the project recipe. So I'm just going to sort of scoot those off to the side here. The other thing I wanted to be sure and share with you is this cute new frame punch that we have. It's called the Pumpkin Patch, and it does make a beautiful border or a frame. And as you know, many of these punches, even if they're not meant to be frame punches, can be used that way. We just had a video recently on that, but this one is meant to be a frame punch, so I'm going to show you how to use this to create a frame today as part of our project recipe. Speaking of that, let me grab the project recipe and show you. Here it is, and you can see they've used it twice, one on each side to make a frame around a photograph, and then also as a border on the bottom of each of the pages, each of the sides of the 2-page layout. So we're going to do that. It's going to be super fun. Let me show you the papers I'm going to use. They're going to be a little bit different than the ones that are used in the sample, just to give you some options and some ideas, stimulate the imagination. So 2 of the pages in the designer pack are this kind of speckly paper, so I'm going to use this as my base, which is going to be a little bit different than the way this layout is designed. In the sample, they've used a dark background. They've used the wood paper. So let's see what it looks like on a lighter background, and that'll give you some options. This has these beautiful orange maple leaves on the back, which I was very tempted to use, but I think just for the sake of differentiation and trying to see what it might look like, we're going to use the speckled side. Then I'm going to use this pumpkin paper right here, which is super cute, and an interesting shade of orange that I think we don't always go to at Halloween. But it is very appropriate for fall. I love the plaid they've created with the blue and the orange and the red. Just really, really nice. And then I'm going to use some cranberry cardstock. They used pumpkin in the sample that we've got here, but we're going to use cranberry and see how that looks. Backside of the pumpkin paper is this really pretty leaf yellow paper, which also matches the plaid really well, but I'm going to go with the orange because pumpkins. So we're gonna, let's see, I'm gonna just set my base pages to the side for a minute. We'll get back to those. And we are gonna get to cutting and punching here first off. So switching gears and jumping over to the cutting guide, you are gonna need 2 designer sheets of paper and 1 piece of cardstock. Now they have it labeled here as pumpkin cardstock, but again, you can use whatever color matches the collection that you're using. So that's why I'm giving you an option, and I'm going to use cranberry instead of pumpkin, and we'll see how it looks. But I'm also kind of more partial to red. I love red. So Let's go ahead and we'll just cut the cardstock really fast first. They use the cardstock pretty much exclusively just to matte photographs. So it's in kind of standard sizes. So I'm just grabbing my trimmer here. We're going to cut one strip at 4 inches, and then we're going to cut that 4-inch strip in half at 6 to create 2 mats, 2 4x6 mats. So if you have your marker at the top of your trimmer, you can just cut that really easily. If not, you'll want to swing the arm out so that you can get that measurement for 6 inches. So there's our first 2 mats. Then we're going to cut another one at 4 inches. And this one is going to get cut into 3 4x4 cubes. We actually want 4 4x4 cubes. So the first one we're going to do, we're going to stack those 2 last strips on top of each other and then cut at 4 inches again. So that gives us 2 4-inch cubes. Then we're going to take one of these and set it aside because it's extra. And we'll take the remaining one and cut it in half at 4 inches so that we have 4 4x4 squares. Okay, so that is all we're going to need to do with the cardstock. Then what you need to do is decide which of your designer papers you want to be these 2 vertical strips that come down the center of the layout. So they use the plaid here in the sample. I love the plaid and I want to see it. So I want to go ahead and use the plaid just like they did. I hate to be a copycat, but I am going to do it because I love this paper. It's just so pretty. So cute. And it has the blue on the back, which is really, really nice, which you're going to use down here behind the pumpkins. So keep that in mind. Whatever paper you choose to go down the center here is also going to be flipped over. You're going to use the back side to go behind the pumpkins down here to add some contrast to the back of them. So we're going to cut 2 pieces at 4.5 by 12. So I'm just going to find the 4.5 grid line on the left side over here and go ahead and cut. Then we're going to find the 4.5 grid line again and cut one more. And then we're going to take this remaining paper, which should measure 3 inches. Mine is just a hair over, as sometimes happens. So then we're going to cut this in half and make 2 1.5-inch strips. So I'm just gonna make sure that I have it even, even though it's I'm slightly beyond the 3-inch mark. So we'll go slightly beyond the 1.5-inch mark and make 2 even strips. All right, so those we're going to be flipping over to the blue side. Now I'm going to take my pumpkin paper, that's the last one, and we're going to use the blue the blue field over here as our cutting guide. This one we are going to do some punching and some cutting, and you'll notice on the instructions written right on the strip it says cut then punch the border, cut then punch the border, cut then punch the frame. So we're going to cut this paper, then we're going to punch it. Now we need to keep in mind, because this is a directional paper, we want our pumpkins to, for the most part, be vertical. So in the frames that we're going to be punching, they are long ways this way. So vertical would be this direction. And in the pumpkins that are going to be punched across, we also want them to be vertical. So I'm going to turn this so that I can, so the top of the paper is over here, and I'm going to cut 2 strips that are 2 inches. These are going to be the border pieces, right? So there's one piece. We're going to move this up and cut one more. Okay, and then this remaining piece we're going to turn, and we're going to cut this at 6 inches. So again, using my marker at the top, I'm just going to cut this in half, or if you need to, just fold out the arm on your trimmer so that you can cut that at 6 inches. All right, so this should be 6 by 8. And that is all we're going to need our trimmer for. So I'm going to move my trimmer over to the side. Now what we're going to do is we're going to do some punching. So keep that pumpkin paper handy. And we are going to punch. First we're going to do our 2 borders. So we're going to use these 2 papers and we're going to punch across. And in the interest of full disclosure, I have not used this punch yet, so I just want to grab a scrap of paper. Let me see what I've got here. Here, this will work. And I just want to punch this maybe just a couple times, just in case there's any lubricant on it. See, there is a little bit coming off. So I just want to give it, a couple of tries to get the majority of that extra lubricant off. I did prime it, so I pumped it several times, probably 20 or 25 times, which is probably to excess. But at any rate, now, if you've not used a border punch from Creative Memories, let me just explain real quick that there are these 2 marks on the front, one on the left side, one on the right side, and those are to indicate your start points for when you're making a border. When you're making a frame, it's different, but when you're making a border, you do use these points here in the front. And depending on whether you're feeding your paper from right to left or from left to right is going to depend on determine which of these marks you're going to start with. So I, for some reason, tend to like to go from right to left and feed it through this way, but sometimes I end up going the other direction, it just depends. We want to make sure that this left side of the paper is lining up with that mark, and because we cut this paper already, it makes it tricky to see. So what I'm going to recommend you do is take a sticky note. Scrapbooker's best friend is the sticky note. Who knew, right? We're going to stick that sticky note even with the very edge of the paper, the corner right there. That way we know exactly where our paper ends, and we can line up our sticky note then with that mark on the left side of our punch, just like that. And then we can start punching and know that we are in the right place. Okay, so we're going to feed our punch through until our punch matches the blue design on the wing, and it looks like we don't have to go very far to find that design on this particular punch. So we are going to punch this probably, I'm guessing, about 6, maybe 7 times. Let's see, to get all the way across. We're just keeping our paper all the way to the back shoulder each time we move it down, matching up the pattern here on the left. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, so 6 times. We punched it 6 times to create that cute border of pumpkins. Okay, so that one is done. Let's go ahead and do this next one. So once again, I'm going to line up my pumpkins, and just so that I can show you, I'll go ahead and do it the other direction so you'll see how that works. Okay, so putting it right on the edge of my paper, I'm going to feed it into the punch and then line up this edge of the Post-it note with that black mark right there. on the right hand side of the front of my punch. I'm going to go ahead and punch and feed it through, line up the design and push it all the way to the back shoulder on this side, and punch again and proceed all the way across. In just a second here, I'm going to show you what the confetti from this punch looks like, because if you are a fan of doing shaker cards, or maybe you're one of those moms or grandmas who likes to add confetti to the cards that you send loved ones, this one is perfect for that. Because check it out, we've got pumpkins, we've got cool swirls. The cool swirls could become question marks. The innards from the pumpkin cutouts could become bananas or quotation marks or a bunch of other things. These are some kind of starry shapes that could be added to the pieces from the pumpkin to make little mini palm trees. There's just all kinds of fun things that you could use the cutouts from this punch with. But easiest, of course, is just using them in a shaker card or in some confetti. But just fun. And then there's these cute little dots also. So super fun, and I just thought it would be fun to share that. All right, let me go ahead and I'm gonna toss my larger pieces and scoot the remainder off my table so that I can save it for another day. And one of these days, maybe I'll show you how I store stuff like that. Actually, I could just show you now. In this drawer that I have right next to me, I have these cute little dispensers. They have a screw-on lid, and this one has hearts in it of different sizes. But these sit sideways in this drawer so I can see what's in them. So I have those containers. I have some old Creative Memories stamp containers, the circle, the hexagon, the star. I have some of these, which you might recognize as containers that they're similar. They're not exactly the same, but they're similar to the ones that I've seen advertised that you can put seasoning in and keep on the side of your refrigerator. There is a magnet on the back, so if you have a magnet wall, you could store these on your magnet wall in front of you and be able to utilize them really easily that way. There are vents on the side which allow the top to come off very easily. It doesn't screw on, it just sort of pops on and stays there. And you can see what's inside because this is clear plastic. So those are super fun, and they usually are around about this time of year because they are sold as kind of like something that kids might use in their locker to hold things on the outside of their locker door. So if you're interested in that, now is the time to be looking for those. All right, so we are done with the borders. Now we're going to cut these two larger pieces into frames. This frame that's going to go around these two vertical photos on either side. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is take a note that there is a line on either wing of this punch, a silver line. Can you see that on each side? And that is our starting point when we're doing a frame. So we're going to start by putting the edge of our paper right at that line. So we're going to feed this in all the way to the back bumper just like we normally would, and then put the edge of our paper on that silver line rather than lining it up with the mark in front. So then we're going to punch and slide just like we did before. And you'll see we've arrived at the line on the right hand side, so we're just going to punch it 3 times. Then we're going to turn it and line it up again the same way. So all the way to the back bumper and the edge of our paper right on the silver line. We're going to just punch this one twice, and you'll see it leaves us with a really nice 1-inch square in the corner. We're going to get another 1-inch square on this side. And we're going to punch this 3 times down this side. And turn it again. Line up that corner right on the silver line. And punch twice. And then we get our final square. Ooh, hello, where do you go? There he is. Off the right hand side. And here is our finished frame. Isn't that cute? Now we won't see some of this lower portion of this. I noticed in the samples here, once you add the matte to the photo, it does cover up a little bit of the base of this. You'll see right here, like so. But you still get the effect of the pumpkins that go all the way around. So if you wanted to see all of that, you would just need to cut down the matte that you're using, or the photo. If you're choosing not to use the matte, then you just need to cut the photo to a more appropriate size so that you can see what you want to see. But this is the way this one's going to go together today. All right, so we have one more frame to punch. I'm going to do that real quick, and then we'll get to assembly. All right, so let me just go ahead and move these squares out of the way. Not going to get rid of those. We might use them in something. That would be fun. All right, so I'm going to grab my base sheets of paper, and we will do a little bit of separating here just so that we can keep everything. Oh, there's the last one. Okay, so we want one frame and one border on each page. And then we're going to come over here to the other pieces that we cut. We want one blue piece on each page and one plaid piece for each page. All right, so now we are going to assemble. And you can see from looking at our sample that the border that's made to go across the bottom needs to go on top of the plaid piece that's going to be vertical in the center. So we're going to adhere our plaid pieces first. Let me put this up here so you can see it a little bit better. For me, a picture speaks so many more words than a written instruction. There are written instructions, of course, at the bottom of the project recipe. So if you are a person that needs the written word instructions, they are there. I just really prefer to look at a picture. But sometimes I can't figure it out from looking at the picture, so I do need the written instructions, and I'm glad they are there. Okay, so we're just going to put our adhesive about a ½ inch every couple of inches. I put it about 5 times down a 12-inch side of anything. So at the top, at the bottom, in the middle, and then in between all of those. Then we're going to attach this flush with the right side of the page. This is for the left portion of our layout. Then we're going to do the same thing with the other plaid piece, but we're going to put it on the left side. So just like this, and then we're going to go down the left side of the paper. Okay, perfect. Now let's go ahead and create the borders that are going to go across the bottom. Now, remember I said we're taking that 2-inch or that 1.5 inch plaid piece and we're flipping it over to the blue side. It's going to go behind these pumpkins. The best way to make that happen is to use repositionable adhesive, and we're going to apply the repositionable adhesive across the back of our punched piece. And I'm just going to carefully, without applying too much pressure because you don't want to tear the punched piece of paper, just put it kind of across several places. Because of the nature of this adhesive, it's made with dots, so the dots are not so easily seen in the punched out areas. Now you will see just a tiny little glimpse of them, but that will blend into the paper as you adhere it, so not to worry. So we're just going to put this right at the top. Let me look at my example. Yeah, right at the top with maybe just a hair. I'm saying like maybe a little bit less than 1/8 of an inch of the blue above the top of the punched out area. But you can leave as much as makes you happy, but that's what I'm doing. And then the key is to make sure that the second one that you create is exactly the same as this one. So depending on how you make the first one, just make the second one match and all will be well. Okay, so we're gonna, oh, gee whiz, look at, I did that again. Somebody, whose job was it to remind me not to do that? Okay, so if you accidentally use your permanent adhesive, which is what I just did, just do your best to come back in and either fold it back or take it off. I find my multi-purpose tool works really well for this. For years I was in denial that I did and said I didn't need a multi-purpose tool, and I worked diligently to scrapbook without one, and I made it work, ladies. Honestly, I was not. My pages still turned out beautiful. I wasn't inept without one, but I really didn't know what I was missing, to be completely honest. my upline just swore by hers, and I kept thinking, you don't really need one of those. It's a useless, it's a comfort tool. It's not useless, but it's just not something that I need to spend my money on. Honestly, they're not that expensive, but I just didn't feel like it was going to be worth it. So I never bought one. I bought one a few years ago, and I thought to myself, good grief, this is the best, especially when you have fingernails like I have fingernails. I use this tool for all kinds of stuff, especially when I make mistakes and goobery errors like this, where I need to mess with stuff that I wouldn't need to mess with if I had been paying attention. Anyways, here we go. I've almost got it fixed. Don't throw the adhesive away if you can help it. That's good stuff, and if you can just peel it away from the openings so that you can't see it when you flip it over, then all is well, right? All right, now let's go ahead and got a couple of strips on my cutting board. Okay, green. We're looking for green. Green is a repositionable adhesive, and that's what we want. And we're going to just go ahead and carefully, see, I got a little too aggressive there and it ended up folding up on me. It's okay though. All right. Now, if you're curious or concerned about making sure that it is super exact, and I like mine to be as close as possible, I would just line up your blue papers so they are matching, and then line up the base of your orange papers, and then your borders will be the same size. All right, there we go. Okay, now we're going to come in here and we're going to adhere our pumpkin border. And taking a look at this, it looks like we've got a little bit of a break at the bottom. So they didn't place this border right flush with the bottom. It's about 1/4 of an inch up. So I'm just gonna guess at about 1/4 of an inch. It doesn't have to be exact, remember. As long as both sides match, all is well. So we're gonna put that across there. Then I'm gonna line up my papers together. Put some adhesive on the back of this one. And then we're going to go ahead and place this one at the same level so it goes across and all is straight. There we go. Okay, now to finish off this bottom area, you can see that they've used a border sticker across the bottom. Those beautiful fall leaves are going across the bottom. Let's see which one of those border stickers we might want to use. So we've got our orange pumpkins. We've got, so that we can get a better sense of color, I'm just going to lay the mats on top of these frames, even though they're not adhered just yet. Then we're going to have these 4 square mats are going to go down the center. So you can get 6 photos on this 2-page layout. So that gives us a better sense of the colors that we've got. Do we want to add the yellow, the brown, or the leaves? I like the leaves too because I think it pulls in all the colors on the page, which is really nice. Okay, we're gonna go with the leaves as well. Okay, I feel like I'm just such a copycat of this project recipe, but you know what? Our designers know what they're doing and they make beautiful things. So it's hard to go wrong when you just do what they do, right? All right, so we're gonna add those leaves across the bottom. We're gonna do one more strip on this side, right across the bottom. I do like to try to show you kind of something new or different, but for right now, okay, so it looks like I put my stickers fully on the orange paper that the pumpkins are punched in. They've got their sticker over the seam of the paper, which is totally fine. If you want to do it that way, you should do it that way. And if I were thinking, I probably would have done mine that way too, but that is the way it is. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and adhere the frames and the mats, and gonna turn this around so my pumpkins are headed the right direction. You'll notice when you put your 4x6 inch mat on this frame that each of the corners of the photo literally have a place to land. They're pointed directly at the corners of the punched area. So that is helpful, I think. Helpful to our cause, right? And I did that right over the area where it's going to go, so that's fortunate. But I'm using repositionable adhesive mostly because I would just want to allow myself the option to be able to move this and turn it horizontal if I want to. You can't see the pattern in this paper as much as you might think, so I think it would be okay if we ended up needing to turn it. So just in case, erring on the side of caution and using my repositionable adhesive. And then with these, I'm going to go ahead and use my permanent adhesive because it's hard to reposition a square, right? And they've got them set so that they're about a 1/2 inch from the bottom, 1/4 inch from either side. And then a little bit more like 1 inch from the top. But like I said, that's not you don't have to make that perfect. Just make sure that whatever measurement from the top you go with on the one side, that you go with that same measurement on the other side. So one more here and then we'll get that other frame taken care of. My measurements are just a little bit off, so this frame is a little wider than the other one, but that's okay, it'll be all right. All right, let me see if I can tell which direction this needs to go in. Here we go. There we go. I mean, it doesn't have to, like I said before, but if I can center it and keep the pattern going the right direction, then I think if anybody's looking super closely, that'll all be good. All right, now we need to just go ahead and embellish, and then we are done. And you can see on this particular layout, they've embellished in 4 places. So you can do that if you'd like. They've used these cute pumpkin stickers as corners and brought the corners of those frames out, and then added just a couple of extra things. And then up here, again, kind of did a similar arrangement of embellishments just to kind of create a little bit of a header on the page, which is nice, and it definitely adds to the continuity of the page to have that. So let's see what we can do. We'll pull out our stickers. We've already used our border stickers, so I'll stick that up there. And you can see here are our pumpkin corners that they used. Then we've also got, these are those fern stickers that they've carried over. They've used a few other things like the fox and the scarecrow and the squirrel. There's a couple of squirrels. So we could do that, or we could create our own. Let me see what I've got. We could just go ahead and just use stickers, although it looks like they may have used, no, it looks like they've pretty much just done stickers for the embellishing on this. Okay, well, let's see if we can do that too. That will be fun. And we'll save our other embellishments for other pages. Okay, so I definitely like the scarecrow. I think he adds a lot of character, of course, and he probably needs some kind of, let's use the wheelbarrow instead of using the pumpkins for this side. So we'll use the wheelbarrow, and we can kind of place him a little bit behind the wheelbarrow. I'm going to need my foam squares, so let me grab those. There we go. I'm just going to set that over there. We'll pull out the original in just a minute after we've assembled ours. Let's see here. Give me a second. Get creative. That box is in the way. All right, so let's see. Sorry about that. I had to turn on my "Hey Mom is recording" sign so that maybe people upstairs will be mindful of that. Not that they have to be super silent, but sometimes it's good if they know that something else is going on in the house. And with me downstairs, sometimes they don't always know. All right, we're gonna just foam square this guy up so that he will have more of a presence on our page. Okay, so if we put him right here. And I'm just leaving the backs on the foam squares for right now until I know for sure what I want where. I get to use one of our fun new multi-sized foam square packs. That's exciting. It's always fun to use new things, right? But you can see I'm almost down to nothing on my small ones. So, and let's see, for the other side, I could use let's use some words, maybe a title or something. Bushels of fun. You guys, this is the part that always takes me the longest. This is one of my favorite sayings. Fall is proof that change is beautiful. I think we need to have this on here somewhere. So maybe we'll pop this up and I'll use these big ones on either side. And maybe a slightly smaller one for the middle so it doesn't sag on us, right? Okay, what if we put this one on this side and we'll add some doodads to it. Fall is proof that change is beautiful. Should we add the pumpkins up there? I don't want it to be too wide, because if it's too wide, then it will interfere with the photo. But we could connect it there. I like that. That looks nice. Put one over the seam where those two come together. I'll add a little support. Proof that change is beautiful. And we could put a little red pumpkin kind of up in the corner of that. Kind of right there. How's that? All right, now, hard to beat using those pumpkins on the corner down here, but what else could we do? Could just do something a little smaller.
This is gonna crinkle a lot.
It's okay, go ahead. I think we'll use a squirrel and some leaves. Maybe we'll put the leaves on the front.
Speaking of leaves.
Oh, did you find a leaf candle for me? Oh, thank you.
There was 3 different types of casing.
Oh, that's pretty.
So,
Yeah, I like that.
if anyone's watching, this is good.
The new leaves scent from Bath and Body Works. We'll just do a little commercial. This has a really nice cinnamon scent. So if you really like cinnamon, it's really strong, but it's very nice. really fun for the fall. Thank you. Okay. Thank you, Heidi, for doing that.
You're welcome.
Let's give our squirrel an extra little acorn to be looking for. And then we'll pop this guy up too. Let's see. Use this last little tiny one. I need another little tiny one right about there. I can put this guy down here. And we'll use our other squirrel who handily is facing the other direction. Right, and we will put, we've got another little thing of leaves over here we could use, which would be nice probably. Let's use this one where the blue is going the opposite direction from the other. And we'll just make our own little corners. Not that the pumpkins aren't nice, I just wanted to give you another option in case you'd rather do something different. This kind of gives you an alternative, right? For the decorative corners. Don't want his tail to get stuck down. I have to stick that guy up. All right. We'll put him over here. I think that'll be sufficient, don't you? I like it. All right. Well, let me know what you think of this collection. I hope that you order it. If you are not an advisor and don't have an advisor, I would love it if you would click on the link in the description and go ahead and order from me. That would be fantastic. It'll help support my habit. And my husband would really love and appreciate that. I'm going to go ahead and get these stuck down. And since I'm committing and sticking these down, I'm not going to be turning these frames. But just keep in mind when you do things on the edge of a photo where a photo is going to go like this, you need to be careful that you're not adhering something that's going to be sticking to an area where there should be a photo. Because unless you've already got the photo down, you may need that space to be able to slide the photo underneath. So just try to be careful. And if you have put a foam square somewhere where you will need to put a picture underneath, just leave the tab on the foam square. It's fine. The rest of the foam squares will hold it where it needs to go, and you won't be prevented from adding your photo, because you'll be able to slip it right underneath. Okay. Oh, I think this guy needs a little bit of something extra. Should we give him like a pumpkin right in the middle of his? I like that idea. Let's give him a pumpkin right in the middle of his wheelbarrow. We'll just pop up a little red pumpkin right in the middle there. Let me grab another tiny little foam square to go there, just so that we don't lose our pumpkin. He doesn't get stuck down too badly. Okay, there we go. If you haven't already subscribed to my channel, I'd be honored if you would go ahead and do that. Just click that subscribe button. It doesn't cost you anything, but eventually it will earn me a little bit of a little money again to help support my habit. and help me bring more of these fun videos of instruction to you. So that would be great. All right. So I'm just going to be real careful that I'm not overstepping into too much into either one of these areas where there will be photos. That should be grand. And oh, and I should tell you while I'm doing this too, that at the date that this video is going to air, I will have just come home from a trip to Ireland. So that is what our next big project is going to be, the photos from there. But I have a few things to finish first, right? We need to finish Hawaii, we need to finish Disney, and so a little work to do before we get to that fun thing. But just so you know, I'm sure it was a fantastic trip, because when you're spending time with your family, how can it help but be fantastic, right? Let me know what you think about this cute layout and this new collection. I really like it. I love the colors, and I think it turns out well with a lighter background, so long as whatever you're using for this frame is a darker designer paper. If you want to use a lighter designer paper for the pumpkin frame, then use a darker background sheet and you'll be fine. It'll all turn out lovely. All right. Thanks so much for joining me. Until next time, I hope you have many more creative moments, and I look forward to seeing you soon. Bye-bye.